Hello, my name is Lee Abraham. I am co-author of Money on the Table, Referrals in the Bank with Dr. Ivan Meisner, and I'd like to talk with you today about your BNI chapter and your power teams. In fact, I'd like to work directly with you as your power team coach and trainer using the Power Team Certified Training System. So let's have a quick look at a breakdown of your chapter roster. Hopefully I'll be able to show you some referral possibilities that we can begin implementing to dramatically increase the number of referrals and closed business in your chapter through power teams, and kind of break down some action steps on how we can work together to bring these results to the Professional East Partners chapter of BNI. So let's have a look at the Power Team Roster Success Worksheet. The areas that are highlighted in light blue were completed by someone inside your group, and hopefully you have already watched the short introductory video that goes over the 3 goals for this worksheet and some of the methodology on what we'll be doing. Now let's take a look at some of the chapter statistics over the last 6 months and 3 months. We can start to see the trend of what's going on with the chapter. So in terms of number of referrals per member per week, we have less than 1, just over 1/2 of a referral per member per week. That's been consistent over the last 6 months and more recently the next 90 days. That's too low, ladies and gentlemen. If you do retain my services as your power team coach, you'll find I'm a straight shooter, and I'll tell you where I believe that we can work together to improve results. In the number of referrals per member per week of less than 1, we can definitely do something about and change that dramatically. So that number needs to come up. Number of visitors per week, 1 visitor per week is certainly better than none, but if I'm reading this correctly, for a chapter of 36 people, 1 visitor per week, and being consistent over the last 6 months as well as 3 months, again, this number needs to come up, and we'll find that the next metric will rise as well. We've had 2 new members over the last 6 months, but none in the last 90 days. So I see some stability here. The chapter trend is steady, but slow for referrals, visitors, and new members. So I believe, working together can dramatically improve all of these metrics for your chapter, and as a result, the chapter is going to grow from 36 to over 40 and beyond. So those are some of the statistics. Let's get into some of the specifics now. My notes on the chapter is that this is a group with a very strong business services contact sphere, as well as property services, and then real estate and finance business categories. Those 3 are fairly strong for this chapter. To round out the chapter, both event services and wellness services have a solid foundation to build from. And we're going to be breaking this stuff down now in detail as we look at the chapter roster per contact sphere, try to make some sense out of how these folks in your chapter, based on their business category, based on their target market, can work together as a power team. The chapter challenges, stuff we've already talked about, need to improve performance per member for referrals and visitors, need to improve chapter performance for visitor conversion. And again, these are all things that we can work on. So overall, I rate the chapter as steady. And if we're not careful, we're going to slip into declining. Okay? So let's see what we can do now with our chapter roster worksheet and go through your chapter specifically. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at your chapter roster broken down into the different contact spheres, and we'll start with business services. Your chapter is very strong in these business services business categories. You can see listed here in the column all of the business categories in your chapter that, in my estimation, should be grouped into business services. And in fact, there's such an extensive list that I went ahead and numbered them so that it'll make a little more sense as we complete our analysis. Looks like we have 14 business categories in the chapter that fall under business services. So what we're going to do with each of the contact spheres is go from left to right, and we're going to project how many of these business categories can be relevant to people getting married, to the business builder key situation, and so forth. As I mentioned in the introductory training video, the contact spheres all have a tendency rating as to which key situation drives the most business. So in other words, you see a large number 1 here, number 2, and number 3. What we're saying is that the tendency for the business services contact sphere is to do most of their business in the business builder key situation. It's not earth-shattering, but what it does is it gives us a common framework that we can start mixing and matching the different contact spheres that can all be relevant in varying degrees to your target market. So if you're in the business services contact sphere, if your name is on this list, we're now going to go from left to right to see how you may or may not be relevant to these 6 key situations. The RM means how many relevant members does this contact sphere have? In other words, how many of the business services contact sphere can be relevant to the getting married key situation? I've estimated that there are 3. And you can see because of the extensive list, I used the numbers to help me remember what I was thinking when I went through this to begin with. Okay, so what we're saying is that business categories number 4, 7, and 8. So accounting services, advertising specialty, and printer could all be relevant to the getting married key situation. So there's 3 members of this contact sphere that could be relevant. Advertising specialties, you might be scratching your head, how can they be relevant to the getting married key situation? We find that depending on the member of your chapter, if they're interested in this type of business, different gifts for the people who are attending the wedding reception, as well as the ceremony, keepsakes, memorable items, can all be under the umbrella of advertising specialties and could be a nice way for this particular member of your chapter to do some networking that they may not regularly do. I'm just going to show you different tendencies, different patterns, and it'll be up to you to decide if it works for you or not. Bottom line is, in my estimation, we have 3 members of the business services contact sphere that could begin networking with some of the other business categories that are dealing in this target market all the time. I'll show you what that looks like as we go forward. Let's move on to the business builder key situation. This is the number 1 power team for business services typically. Okay, your business might be different, but generally speaking, if you're in the business services contact sphere, you're doing most of your business with people who are building a business. So this is your number 1 target market, and no surprise, I've rated 13 of the 14 members as being relevant to the business builder. Okay, you're wondering which one isn't. I'll go out on a limb and say that the civil engineer might be a bit of a stretch. I kind of see them being more relevant to the real estate key situation. Not so much to the business builder, but maybe I'm wrong. And George, I welcome the opportunity to learn more about your business to make a further determination on that. Main thing is that we have 13, maybe 14 members of the chapter who are focused on the business builder key situation and form a great foundation for building a power team. Okay, let's move on. The new baby key situation, something you normally wouldn't connect to the business services contact sphere. I've got 4 people who are potentially relevant. 4, 7, 8, and 9. Accounting services, advertising specialty, printer, and supplemental insurance. In my estimation, if those 4 business categories became very familiar, began to develop a reciprocal referral relationship with the next contact sphere, event services, which specialize in weddings, the people in the chapter who specialize in weddings can start systematically making visible the accountant, the advertising specialty, the printer, and the supplemental insurance to families that are growing, that have a new baby on the way, and perhaps their products and services might be relevant and something that event services could systematically promote to give more value to their target market. Okay, so I get a little ahead of myself because I get very excited about these connections. Let's just keep moving through business services, and then we'll tie this all up in a neat little package as we get to the end of the analysis. Real estate key situation. I've got 5 people from this contact sphere who could be networking with the real estate power team, and that does include the civil engineer and then the other folks that I have detailed here. The getting healthy situation, a bit of a stretch really for business services. I've got one business category, number 9, supplemental insurance. That might be a good fit there. I'm not going to review the relocation key situation for your chapter. I didn't see some of the primary driver businesses that really push relocation, and so we'll go ahead and omit that basically through the rest of the analysis as we look at the rest of the contact spheres. We've got plenty to work with the first 5 key situations. Okay, so let's go to event services. All right, here we have 2 business categories, photographer and a disc jockey. And I did look at Peggy's website, and I see that she does do an excellent job with weddings. That's a target market that she's going after. And so we've got 2 solid members of the getting married potential power team, right? So we take a look at the first key situation as we go from left to right. Clearly we have 2 members of this contact sphere who are relevant, and they're the ones driving the getting married key situation. So just as I continue to show you the methodology here, the bottom line is that Joe and Peggy should really get together and learn about the products and services from the accountant, advertising specialty, and printer, not because these guys are going to be spending their time looking for people who are getting married. They're not. They're going to be focused on the business builder. But their products and services sure can be helpful and relevant to Joe and Peggy's primary target market. So they should be promoting these 3 systematically. And that's what we're going to show you at the end here, is how can we specifically create these referrals for the other members of our chapter who may be from different contact spheres. Okay, so we'll pick up the pace. Business builder key situation, I'm thinking that we have 1 relevant member. That would be Peggy, who could do photography, headshots. I noticed there was portrait photography and so forth. Could be relevant to the business builder. So these 13 people who are focused on the business builder could be systematically promoting Peggy, generating a lot of business for her that is being left on the table right now. The new baby key situation, again, I've got Peggy potentially being relevant there for baby portraits. And then I didn't go down the road of real estate or getting healthy for either member of this particular contact sphere. Okay, so we will now move down to personal services. Again, we have 2 people in this contact sphere, an automotive body shop and greeting cards, 2 excellent businesses, both of which, by the way, are specifically referenced throughout the Money on the Table book. And so I've got a lot of specific examples for both automotive services and greeting cards in the Money on the Table book. So glad to see those business categories in the chapter. How can those 2 be relevant to getting married? I've got both of them. Number 1, the auto body shop. We want to make sure that our new spouse has a safe vehicle, that we can do proactive and preventative maintenance on the vehicle so we can budget accordingly as a married couple. And then clearly greeting cards. Greeting cards for invitations to the wedding, thank you cards for gifts, and all different applications for greeting cards in the getting married key situation. How about the business builder? Well, yeah, automotive shop and greeting cards can both be relevant to the business builder. Okay. New baby key situation. Same thing, both can be relevant there, very similar to the getting married key situation. We want to make sure that vehicle's safe when we have a new baby in the house, don't we? Sure. The real estate key situation, I've got both being relevant there. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. The getting healthy key situation, yeah, they're both relevant there, particularly if the greeting cards is send-out cards. The getting healthy key situation is a terrific connection for the cards because people getting healthy now have an opportunity to connect with their friends and family, their loved ones, people who are helping them on the road to recovery, and they can do it from the comfort of their home on their laptop. And it makes them feel better to connect. It actually, statistics show that the more people who are recovering from illness or injury connect with other people and aren't isolated, the healthier they become more quickly. Okay, so anyhow, you get the idea. Both of those are relevant to all 5 of the key situations and ultimately all 5 of the power teams that will be forming in your chapter. These 2, just like all the others, will go ahead and pick a power team that they want to really participate in driving volume, and that's where their focus will be. But they'll also work with the other power teams to show them how they can be relevant, how they can be promoted. Okay? All right. So let's keep moving through the chapter, and then we'll get to our final recommendations. We go to property services, and now we look at 2 very strong contact spheres in your chapter. Property services looks like we have 7 business categories represented, and they're all good, solid business categories. Okay, this is a terrific group that we have here. So let's just break it down. Can they be relevant to the getting married key situation? I put 6 of the 7. Okay, we have a commercial painter in the group. If Anthony is open to doing residential work, then that would make 7, but I'm going by the description of commercial and not including them in the getting married key situation. Let's face it, people getting married, if they're combining households, create a lot of opportunity for the folks in property services. It behooves this group to get to know the members of the chapter that are dealing with people getting married all the time and learn how to promote their products and services. Okay? Business services key situation. All of these property services business categories can be relevant to the business builder if the business has a location, an office, a retail facility, industrial space, whatever it might be. We've got a good fit there. The new baby key situation. I've got not all, but I've got 6 of the 7. Same group as getting married, being relevant when the new baby comes into the house, right? Absolutely. How about the real estate key situation? Normally this is the number 1 key situation, and rightly so. I've got all 7 members of property services being relevant. And the getting healthy key situation, I've got 6 of the 7. So this is a very strong property services contact sphere, very diverse in the target markets that they can provide relevant value. We want to guide this group into focusing on the real estate key situation. This is people buying or selling real estate, new construction, or property management. This is where your focus should be, but you can see that the new baby key situation, getting married, can really be fruitful for you. And so we'll talk more about that in just a minute, but I'm very excited about this contact sphere in your chapter. Let's take a look at real estate and finance. This is another very strong group. Here we have, what is it, 3, I think 7. Yeah, 7 business categories represented. How many can be relevant to getting married? I've got 5 of the 7. Residential real estate, buying or selling? Absolutely. Banking? Sure. Financial advisor? You bet. Appraisals? Not so much. Real estate attorney? Not so much. Residential mortgage? Absolutely. And property and casualty insurance? You bet. So 5 of the 7 are relevant to people getting married. How about the business builder? I've got 6. I think I'm just leaving out the appraisals, which, you know, it could be, but that really does fall under the real estate key situation. So we go 6 of the 7. New baby, I've got 5 of the 7, same group as getting married. The real estate key situation, as you'd expect, all 7. Okay? So there is room for the real estate appraiser. And you know, my background was in real estate appraisal. I did that for many, many years. So Carmen, let's talk about how you can provide value not only to the real estate key situation, but if there's some opportunity for you to begin to do some consulting work perhaps, or in some other way help the other people in the chapter identify your primary target market. So I look forward to hopefully working with you to give you some guidance on using BNI and power teams for your real estate appraisal business. Okay, but clearly you're a champion in the real estate key situation, so that's good news. How many of you can be relevant to the getting healthy key situation? I came up with 5, and again, it's the same group as getting married and the new baby key situation. Almost done. Almost done. We're going to take a look at the final contact sphere, health and wellness. Very, very potentially powerful contact sphere in your BNI chapter, and I'm very pleased to see that even though there's only 2 members here, they're both exceptionally important business categories. The chiropractor and the massage therapist, just between the 2 of them, are a potent power team. A lot of referrals going back and forth just between the 2 of them. This is a very good place to start. Let's work our way through the analysis here, and then I'm going to show you how one of the biggest opportunities in your chapter is to begin to leverage the potential business that's represented by the wellness contact sphere in your group. So again, really excited that we've got a chiropractor and massage therapist to work with. Can they both be relevant to people getting married? Absolutely. Okay, I can talk about that at length, but if you just check out any of my material regarding the key situations, this is one of the examples that I always use on how both the chiropractor massage therapist can be relevant to the getting married key situation. How about the business builder key situation? Absolutely. This is a huge point. Our chapter is very, very strong on the business builder key situation, and I'm going to get into that in detail in just a moment. Let's really think about how the chiropractor and massage therapist can be relevant to the business builder. Very, very important that the business builder themselves have more energy, more stamina, that they be more physically fit so they can be more effective at building their business. And it's not just the business builder who can benefit. For example, the massage therapist, if the business builder has a location, like we were talking about earlier, whether it be retail, office, or some other type of space, massage therapist can come into the business, scheduled maybe monthly, and give chair massage, 15-minute. Everybody in the office gets a chair massage. That's going to build office morale. Massage therapist can be utilized as gift certificates for the best clients or customers. A lot of different ways that wellness business categories can help the business builder. When we talk in a moment about building your chapter and inviting people in strategically important business categories, we're really going to talk about how important it is to bring in some more wellness people, okay? And I'm going to show you how we talk to those wellness people as it relates to the strength of the business builder key situation. Okay, so this is very, very important stuff for building your chapter larger and making it stronger by deeply integrating the wellness people into the more business-to-business side of what's going on here. Okay, all right. Can they both be relevant to the new baby key situation? Absolutely. The real estate key situation, not so much. And the getting healthy key situation, absolutely. And in fact, this is their #1 key situation. They may choose the new baby key situation to specialize in. It's kind of up to both Dr. William and Tracy to pick a focus and move accordingly. But let's take a deep breath for a moment and slow down and just review what we've done. Essentially, we've gone through the entire chapter roster. We've looked at the business categories, and we've projected, roughly, of course, how these different business categories might be relevant to each of the 6 key situations. Now what we would do is we'll look from top to bottom to see who could network together as a potential power team. In other words, the 3 business categories from business services can be networking with the 2 business categories that are driving the getting married key situation. When I talk about networking together in this case, it's showing Peggy and Joe how to promote the 3 businesses that can be relevant to the getting married key situation. Let's see who else can be on the power team for getting married as we go from top to bottom. Both the auto body and greeting cards. We could have bragging buddy teams form, which is really the first stage of Power Team Certified, is we get you to connect with one other person in your chapter. That's how the power team starts. We don't get everybody together and sit around a table and say, let's start creating referrals for each other. We don't do it that way. What we do in Power Team Certified is we identify the common ground that we've just shown you, and then we ask you to pick one person in your chapter you're going to start with to learn more about their business, how to systematically promote each other, and you're going to start creating referrals for each other. Once those 2 people are creating referrals, they join forces with 2 other people who are also creating referrals, who also share the same key situation, and now we've got the beginning of a small power team. And we continue to build in groups of 2 or 3 who are already creating referrals for each other. It's very, very important that we don't say, okay, we're all in the same contact sphere, we're all in business services, or we're all in property services, let's form a power team and figure out how to make referrals. That is not the most productive sequence of events. So let's just continue this example and then we'll get to our conclusions. Both personal services business categories can be relevant to getting married. We've got 6 property services that can be relevant there, 5 real estate and finance business categories that can be relevant to getting married, and 2, both of the wellness business categories can also be relevant. Bottom line, if you chose to, if you're one of these business categories and you choose to put your focus here, you can form a bragging buddy duo with someone else who shares the getting married key situation and begin creating volume for yourself that way. Similarly with Business Builder and the other key situations, you just go from top to bottom and look at which is the key situation you want to focus on, and then simply look down this worksheet to say, okay, I do think that working with Peggy would be great for the Business Builder. I know she deals with a lot of businesses, or so on. Okay, so what this is doing is it's showing us our first goal. Okay, we had 3 goals on this worksheet. The first one was identifying relationships among current members of the chapter who can create referrals for each other. That's what we're doing here. Next is what we're going to do, showing you specific ways to create referrals among those business categories, and then we're going to wrap up today with a simple look at what open business categories are most strategically important. So at this point, I've already gone through the analysis and I've summarized in your chapter how many people have each of the key situations as a number 1. And we just go all the way through here. In other words, how many people in the chapter have a number 1 key situation as real estate or the getting healthy key situation? And then how many members can be relevant? These are people who it's not necessarily number 1, but they can have a relevant product or service. So what we're doing here is we're taking a look at how many people are going to drive these key situations, those are the number 1s, and how many people can be relevant. Based on that number, we can rate the strength of the power teams. Now the highest potential score at this point is a 4 because you haven't implemented Power Team Certified yet. And so once you implement Power Team Certified, we also include how many people are actively engaged as bragging buddies and how many people are implementing systematic visibility, or what we call systematic promotion, of the other people in the chapter. How many bragging buddies and how much actual activities taking place, and then that gives us a potential score of 10 for each of the key situations. So the highest possible score once Power Team Certified has been implemented is 60, 10 for each key situation. Right now, since it hasn't been implemented, a 4 is the highest potential score. So we can see that we've got 2 very strong potential power teams in Business Builder and real estate. Our getting married potential power team, new baby power team, and getting healthy power team are all on the map, but not necessarily particularly strong at this point. So based on a perfect score once Power Team Certified has been implemented, in other words, 100% strength for all of the power teams, as of this point, 75% of that is still on the table, and only 25% is being deposited in the bank as closed business. That's based on the strengths of the power teams as they're operating today. Okay, and you can look at how I rate those strengths. In fact, we covered that, I believe, on the introductory video. And also, once you get started with Power Team Certified, we start walking you through these levels of systematic visibility and how to specifically create referrals for these other people in the chapter. Okay, it's really very simple stuff, but breaking it down, we have to go through this process to help make sense of how to be efficient and effective with building your power teams. We all know that you're excited about making more money with power teams. The trick is to put it together in a way where you don't lose that enthusiasm, you don't lose that excitement, and you don't have stalled momentum. Okay, that's why when we start with just one person, creating referrals for one person in the chapter at a time and expand on that, we have a much higher probability of success in maintaining and building momentum. Okay, let's wrap up with my conclusions on the top systematic visibility opportunities for your chapter. And it starts with a little bit of tough love. It starts with something that we call the proactive guidance meeting for underperforming members. Okay, if you choose to hire me as your power team coach, I'm going to show you the proactive guidance meeting outline, where essentially we sit down with each member of the chapter 90 days before their membership is up for renewal. We review their statistics, how many referrals per week, how many visitors, all that good stuff, and we quantify whether they're performing above average, average, or below average. If they're underperforming, we go through a process where we get a commitment from them to systematically implement one or two of the strategies, one or two of the techniques that we show you to create referrals. In other words, we're not going to ask them only for a commitment to create referrals for the chapter, their intention. We're going to go beyond their intention and ask for a commitment to the specific activity, using the business card organizer, asking trigger questions, or some of the other specific techniques that we'll show them. So the proactive guidance meeting is at the top for this group because we need to get the performance per member up to speed, and by letting people know how they can specifically improve, as well as motivating them with fear of loss, that if they don't get their performance at least average, we're going to open up their category for competition and see if we can't either light a fire under them to start performing or get somebody else in the chapter who may well outperform them. So the proactive guidance meeting is something we'll talk about if you get started with Power Team Certified, focused on the current chapter right now. Obviously, the Business Builder Power Team is the strong power team, and the current members of the chapter that say, yes, I am focused on the Business Builder key situation. In other words, you can be from event services, you can be from property services, wellness, any of the contact spheres. We went through how you might be relevant to the Business Builder. If that's you, then the top opportunity for you is to begin implementing one or more of the first 4 levels of systematic visibility, which again we show you in great detail, step-by-step detail, Power Team Certified program. Go ahead and start with somebody who shares the Business Builder key situation with these strategies, and then start to network with the real estate power team and start to go back and forth with that group to show them how you can be relevant, they can promote you, and how vice versa, you can promote what they're doing. Okay. So the Business Builder key situation, very basic steps, guarantee that that will create more referrals. Actually, for the entire chapter once you see the relevance of the other people in the group. Next is the real estate power team. Again, if you're in property services, real estate and finance, and this was number 1 for you, then identify someone who shares that key situation, implement the first few levels of systematic visibility, and then I'm guiding you into also reciprocating with the strongest power team in the group, the Business Builder power team. And I'll show you how to do all that. But right now, the main focus is pick out people who share your key situation and start networking with them using some of the basic steps of creating referrals. Now, everybody else in the chapter, if you're not identifying the Business Builder and Real Estate power team as your power team, I'm going to give you some advice right now. Your focus should be on, are you relevant to those key situations or not? Connect with your relevant products or services to the real estate and finance and Business Builder power teams. If you're in wellness, if you're in property services or event services, and you can see yourself being relevant to the Business Builder power team or the real estate power team, I'm recommending to you that rather than focus on your number one key situation at this moment right now, let's shift your paradigm to showing the strong power teams in your group how you can be relative to them. We want these people to be promoting you systematically because you have products or services that are relevant to their target market. It enables these folks to give more value to the business builder and real estate power team by understanding how your products and services are of value. Once we get you past that point, then we're going to start working with you to attract new people into the chapter. So this is the third goal, how to identify strategically important open business categories. Now, chances are that, if you're in event services, these two power teams may or may not be the most relevant for you. I'm telling you to figure out how you're relevant to them because that's where the strength is. But then we're going to get you into inviting people who can help you build the getting married power team. Okay, because that's likely going to be your number one key situation where you're dealing with that target market all the time. But what you're going to do when you start identifying open business categories, in this particular chapter, the caterer, the florist, the jeweler, we have a photographer and a disc jockey. The limousine service is open. All these business categories. What we're going to show you how to do is identify those open business categories and then go to the caterer and talk to the caterer about how they're relevant to the business builder key situation. You're not going to start with weddings with them, okay? You're going to show them how they can make money as a caterer, helping the business builders with client appreciation events, open house events, product launches. Those are things that the strength of the chapter can be generating on a regular basis, and the caterer can be doing business with. Of course, once they see that and we attract them to the chapter, they can then say, well, my gosh, let's also take a look at our primary bread and butter, which is the getting married key situation. This chapter has a photographer and a disc jockey, as a caterer, florist, and the other business categories. Let's start forming our power team now, and that's the target market we're going to go after. But to get some money flowing immediately, let's show business services how we can help them. Okay? I'm hoping that makes sense, because this is the key to not only inviting people, but getting visitors to submit an application. They're asking themselves the question, and we train very specifically on this in Power Team Certified. They're asking themselves, can I make money with this group? And we want you to effectively show them how they can be making money right now with this group that's very strong with the business builder key situation. Okay? The second primary opportunity for open categories is wellness. And again, it's the same strategy for your chapter. Let's attract the nutritionist, the personal trainer, okay? Other people from the wellness contact sphere, and let's show them how they can help the business builder, just like I talked about with events. Once they're in the chapter, now these other wellness categories can either start the new baby or the getting healthy power team, depending on where they want to gravitate. Okay, so this is a lot of information, very rapid fire, I realize that. Here's where I'd like to leave you today. If you feel that there's a lot of money on the table that we can convert into referrals in the bank working together, I'd like to be your power team coach. We can do that by investing in Power Team Certified. It comes out to about $50 per person. And so the Power Team Certified system includes the Money on the Table book. Bring the image up here a little bit. Includes the Money on the Table book, the Power Team Roadmap workbook, which includes 16 self-paced lesson plans, the DVD set, which includes 29 recorded video webinars, help you work your way through the roadmap workbook, and an assortment of exercises and worksheets, tools, and systems that will give you the step-by-step roadmap to converting the money on the table into referrals in the bank. So if you would like to get more information on Power Team Certified, talk to your director consultant or the leaders in your chapter that I'm already working with on Power Team Certified. So thank you very much for your participation in this webinar. I hope it was informative, and I do hope that we'll be working together, and I hope you give me the opportunity to be the Power Team coach and trainer for the Professional East Partners chapter of BNI. Thanks again.